Y'all know what's going on. It's time for another episode of Doing Time with Joe. I'm your host, Joe Baker. I want to thank all of y'all before I get into it. I want to thank everybody for all the support that I've been getting. Me and Boo been getting with the book Rivals. You know what I'm saying? It's really doing this thing, and I really appreciate all of you out there, that say you want to pre-order and they're going to be ordering and supporting us. Um, Thank you for that. And go check it out on jtb3.org, right? Go check it out, right? Everything should be set up by now, from what I understand. So, yeah, go check it out and let me know what you think about it, right? But let me get right into the episode, right? Because Steven is on the precipice becoming, number one in the state, fulfilling his dreams, right? His name was mentioned in the last go round of voting, but he didn't get it. But again, like I said, when it comes to the org, it's a cannibalistic environment, right? So everybody's trying to feed because everybody wants to get to the top of this chain so they can make decisions for everybody in the temporary because none of these individuals that get these spots last long like it used to be back in the day, right? But again, that's just what it is, right? So y'all sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Look at Steven is almost there. Now the brother that's got the top spot is smart. He's leaning on Steven a lot because he knows a lot of people respect Steven. A lot of people look to him. So Steven is part of his body. He's one of his board members. You feel what I'm saying? Uh, he's not the treasurer. He's not the COS. He's what they call the number two. He's the assistant, and everybody respects that. You know what I'm saying? And Steven is looked at now as, you know, one of the most influential individuals throughout the state. Everybody knows it, and they respect him for all the decisions he made and his rise to it. Now he's got a lot of enemies though, y'all. He's got a lot of enemies. Now let's go back also to that alliance that he had with the officer when he was initially let out on the compound as a young man. That officer has been by his side throughout his entire incarceration. Now, keep in mind that he's been moved to several different prisons, and he's at a different prison now than that officer. But what that officer made available for him, not just through him being an officer, the internal affairs people, they knew about Steven. They've been watching him. They've all been watching him, and now they're trying to figure out how he can be of best use to them. How can this person that is number two in charge of the gangster disciples benefit the police? Ain't that something? Stephen don't even know at this time that decisions are being made about him by people that are on the opposite side of the law than he is. Because they've made sure, unbeknownst to him, that he's been protected. They've all been watching him to make sure things didn't happen to him. You know, that unseen hand. He knew some things were going on because at different institutions he would have internal affairs or some officer would just let him know, look, if you have any problems, let us know. And he would say, okay, but he would keep it moving, you know? He knew that they were there, but he was on a mission to make sure that his reputation and his secrets stayed secret and that his reputation stayed good. You know what I'm saying? And that's important when you're living the lifestyle that he lived. So Stephen finds himself in a precarious position, right? Some people that are sitting on the board with him start to bring up some questions about his past rumors. Not the boy, but about him crossing out folks to get that position, that first COS position, that first nine position that he got. People are asking questions about that. How did that happen? What went on? Because those brothers that he got shipped a long time ago, guess what? They're still around. They're still around. And they're not friends of Stephen. They've sat back and watched their prospects go down and his prospects go up. And now he's in a position where, you know what I'm saying, he could do real damage to them. But they want their lick back. What happened That's what they want to know. They didn't do anything wrong. What happened? Now, I'm going to tell you something that a lot of people don't know. A lot of people don't know this. When you're inside the institution and you playing that role as a confidential informant, they document that somewhere. They document that somewhere. And these two brothers found that out. They found that out because they got cool with an officer that was cool with an officer that knew, you know what I'm saying, some things about how IA operated. And when I say IA, I mean internal affairs. And it was this form that they use whenever they deal with a confidential informant. It's this form that they document, what's said and all this, and just certain information that they write down about the individual that they're working with. So they were doing everything they could to try to get a copy of that form, but they couldn't get it. And that stuff is highly secretive and guarded. I'm talking about to the point to where it's almost impossible to get. It's almost impossible to get. But they were on a mission, and they felt like they could get it, and they had jumped the gun a little bit and let some of the BMs know. When I say BMs, I mean board members. Let some of the BMs know that, man, we think that this dude is a CI. Y'all need to watch him. But see, they also underestimated the power of a BM because even though he was the assistant, he was number two. He was a BM, and he had a lot of power and a lot of pull. And you throwing accusations at him, he can throw them things at you. You feel me? So that's what happened. He convinced, when they had the next board meeting, he sat there and he said, look, I got some questions, man. Everybody's shooting at me. You know what I'm saying? I've been doing this thing for a while now. And I've been loyal to the cause. He making a speech that was worthy of an Oscar. You feel me? He said, I've been loyal to the cause and making decisions that benefited GD way more than it benefited me. You know what I'm saying? And now I'm being accused of these things. I've heard it before, and none of this come from this stuff. But now here we go again. He said, and I'm tired of it. He said, if it's a dead issue, it needs to be a dead issue. And when something's a dead issue with GD, what that means is this. Once it's been declared a dead issue, if you bring that back up, then off with your head. So he was saying, are we not going to abide by the law? If these things have already been brought up and been declared a dead issue, then why are we continue to entertain them? And if anybody's entertaining that, they need to be dealt with too. So now that put the other board members on alert. The ones that were letting in communication with these two brothers that they knew and had been known for years, it put them on alert. If they say anything else about this, then they could be dealt with. So they secretly let the brothers know, look, man, if y'all got something, come with it. If you don't, shut up. Because we're not going to put our heads on the chopping block for you. So everything died out. Everything died out. And the talk went away. And like always, they took their eyes off Stephen. Because now Stephen, even though it was a dead issue now and officially over with, he knew how it worked. They might not be saying nothing, they were still digging. So he figured the only way I can solidify myself to make sure that nothing ever happens to me is to become number one. But how do you become number one if you're number two and the number one is doing a fantastic job because of the advice that you're giving? How do you do that? Well, that's easy. Give him bad advice. And then call on your friends in the administration to pop him upside his head. It's as simple as that. So that's what Stephen started doing. But that brother, that's number one, he wasn't stupid. Smart guy. He starts to notice, man, what you telling me ain't adding up. Nah, I ain't gonna be able to do that. He would still listen to him, but he wouldn't do what he was suggesting. So now Stephen is like throwed off because this ain't never happened to him before. He was used to being able to say something and people run with it. You know, he was a narcissist in that way. You know what I'm saying? How dare you question me? You feel me? So now the number one brother was like, man, now this dude here, man, I need to deal with him. Because he started to peep things. Now he's starting to question and wonder, is these things true that they're saying about him? Did he cross these brothers out to get the spot? And if he did, he's after me. So now the number one is after the number two. And the number two is after the number one. I told you this to get cannibalistic. You know, you seen the movies, and if you ain't seen the movies, look it up on your Google. All y'all got that Google out there. Go on and hit piranha on that thing. I don't know how to spell it off the top of my head, but you know what I'm saying. The little fish. The little fish. I think it's Piranha, something like that, right? But put piranha in your Google search and see what happens when what happens when another piranha is nicked or cut or is bleeding or whatever. And see what they tell you. They're gonna tell you that all of them piranha they attack. And that's what GD is about. People don't want to admit that. It is so cutthroat towards one another that it's like piranhas getting at each other. And when blood is smelled in the water, I'm telling you, they're coming. They're coming to get you. They all feed off of you. When they smell weakness, they ain't even got to have an issue against you. But when they smell weakness and they see blood in the water, everybody turns on you. Everybody turns on you. So now, Stephen resorts to one of his old tactics. What did I tell y'all in the prior episodes about people in GD, right? Listen to me. I'm going to remind you. People that are involved in gang activities, right? They're on the wrong side of the law, right? We agree with that, right? Okay. Now let's move forward. Now, people in law enforcement, they're on the right side of the law. They're doing the will of the people. They're trying to make things safer for everybody, sacrificing their lives, their time, relationships with their families and kids. They're really doing the thing, and it should be commended. But here's the thing. People on the wrong side of the law are doing the wrong thing. But let somebody on the right side of the law come tell them something about somebody else on the wrong side of the law, and they're going to listen to them. They're going to listen to them because deep down, they look at people on the right side of the law like everybody else. These are law-abiding, honest people. Forgetting the fact that they're human. And they lie too. They manipulate too. So that's what Stephen, he relied on the help that he could get from the administration to spread a rumor about the number one, that he wasn't straight, that he was cooperating with the administration, providing them information about pocket knives, things like that. That's major. That's major. So the next thing you know, the rumors start to surface. The whispers are coming. Somebody's going to fall. It's either going to be the number one or the number two. But see, Stephen's got his foot on the scale. He's got some help. So you know who failed. The number one person failed. They threw him in the hole for his own safety. Nobody dropped a note. But Stephen whispered in the ears of the people that would help him because he wanted that spot to secure his own self. And guess what happened? Dun 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 dun, the ascension. Stephen becomes the number one person in the state. Right around, he's close to right now at being 40 years old. Okay? So some time has passed. You know what I'm saying? Well, he's right at 37, 38. So, late 30s. Some time has passed, but he's finally in that spot. He's the number one gangster in the state. He can't be touched. Now, what do you do when you become the most powerful gangster in the state? You surround yourself with people that are going to do your bidding. You surround yourself with people that are strong, well respected, but they owe you. And he's made a lot of people, you know what I'm saying, not wealthy, but penitentiary rich. He wasn't hurting for nothing because he had those moves. So he put real killers in place. And when I say real killers, I mean that. Everybody on the board with him, from his number two all the way down to his secretary. All them killers. Well respected. Reputations for putting in work. all over the state. They don't play. That was intentional. Because what did that send? What message did that send? That sent a message that don't play with us. You're going to do what it is that we requested you by the name and in the name of GD, or you get dealt with. So they start coming out with all kind of policy things and updating this and making sure you walk into the shower with security, making sure that dues is being paid. They changed the whole system to where it was more efficient. The money can get to them quicker. You feel what I'm saying? Use your own imagination on that. You feel me? Green dots. Because back then, that's what it was. We didn't have no cash out. You know what I'm saying? All of that. So everything was more efficient in moving along. But now, the people that called on him and needed his help, the administration, they wanted it again. They needed his help again. But he kept putting them off. Because now, you're not just dealing with one prison. You're dealing with every prison across the state. And you got to deal with the folks on the town when they request something of you, the board members, the big boys, the real deal Holyfields. You understand what I'm saying? So you got a lot of things going on. You can't be really kowtowing to the police. You too busy for that. And he can't hand it off to his number two because his number two is a well-respected brother that ain't going. So he can't hand stuff like that off to his number two. He's got to do it himself, but he also has to handle the responsibilities of being number one. He the G of the state. He didn't even realize the demand that was going to be on him when he got that spot. Every day is something. Phones blowing up from all over the state. Everybody's got questions. What about this? What about that? And he has to answer them if his board members, you know what I'm saying, can't answer them. And even when they do answer them, they got to clear it with him. He rules with an iron fist because he don't trust nobody. Everybody's under suspicion. Everybody with him. So when he finally gets around to doing some things and handing out serious decisions across the state, people are starting to question. Why did he do this? Why did he do that? And I'm going to give you one in particular, right? Situation happened at this other prison, right? Where some brothers had done some business with the Bloods. And the Bloods, they trying to keep it on the level. You know what I'm saying? Because everybody's getting paid, right? But bruh and them, they were like, man, I'm not finna pay them, man. We gonna do what we do. See, the Bloods had their own route, but they just needed a real decent, respectable plug that can get it all the time. They could get it, but they lived so far away from this particular penitentiary that it was hit and miss. When they hit, they making money. Then it might take them another month and a half before they can get everything working again because they lived so far away from this particular penitentiary. But folks had plugs everywhere. So they got together. So now folks is making sure that the packs are dropped off at the Bloods females. Like that. Clockwork. But you know how it go when you're a Mac. Y'all know how it go when you're a Mac. A woman involved, let me get her. Especially if she putting in work. Let me get at her. See what she about. Why would she want to stay with somebody that can't make it shake? You feel what I'm saying? When she know that I'm the one that's making it shake. She gonna get with me. It's got to be. This is fated. That's what they say. Well, guess what? One of them going, they love their dudes. And they were putting in work for their dudes, not the folks, though. They were just picking up from the folks. And they were making it happen. So they told they dude. So now the Blood dudes is like, hold up, man. Now you're disrespecting us. You feel me? So now, when the pack come in, folks keep the pack. You know how it go. Man, kick rocks. Get your own stuff. This ours. So the Bloods, they ain't got no choice but to do one of two things. Accept it or fight. The unit that they were in, it was like 8 brothers, and then it was like 5 Bloods. Listen to me now. True story. So the Bloods, they strap up. They ready to put in work. Go put in work. So they get folks now, man, look, man, just give us our stuff, we straight, man. We're going to give you your cutoff for it, we straight. Then we go our separate ways. We ain't got to do it like that. So folks, man, I ain't giving you nothing. That's just dead on that, right? So the Bloods up the butcher. Folks near ain't got no butchers on them. I don't understand this. I don't understand none of what they were telling me. Y'all ain't got nothing on you. So now they running around in the park trying to grab trash cans and all kind of stuff to defend themselves. But the Bloods are swinging these things like they chopping meat. You understand? And what happened is this. One of the folks ended up in the headlock. Two Bloods got him. And this brother got dreads on his head. They thick though. He got them thick dreads, long. So one of the other brothers see it. Get what he do, y'all. Listen to me now. It's 8 to 5. Get what he do. Him and a couple of more of them. They run to the cells and lock the door. Boom. Can't get out. Now this brother's in the headlock. Two Bloods got him. And one of the Bloods got him. And he's swinging a knife at his head, trying to hit him. But if not for them dreads, brother be dead. Brother be dead, y'all. Anyway, the police run in there, break everything up, all this and that. Everybody go to the hole, this and that and the third. So the brother, Stephen, make a decision. All of them got to go. All 8 of them brothers in that pod, ain't nothing on them. Ain't nothing on them. But the way the situation was panning out, it's like some of those brothers never were outside the cell. They never could get out. You know, the police hadn't unlocked all the doors. So they just couldn't get out. It's not, you can't just open a cell door in the penitentiary. You feel me? You can punch, some cells you got to punch the button. Some cells you got to wait for the police to unlock the door. This particular place had to wait for the police to unlock the door. The Bloods was all out first, and there was a few of the guys out. It's like 3 brothers that were not out at all when this popped off. But what happened is one of the main brothers that did lock himself back in, when the hearings start taking place, you know, keep in mind, they're doing a lot of this over the phone. On the compound and over the phone. He goes to these brothers that were still locked down, that are in danger of being stripped of their G's as well, and tell them, look, what we need to say is that everybody was locked down and we couldn't get out. It didn't make any sense. Wait a minute. So everybody was out but this one brother? Now, keep in mind, it would have worked. Because you can't get a hold of no camera. They're not going to turn no camera over to no gangsters so they can verify something. You feel what I'm saying? So, the one brother that was in fact locked down, that was appealing the decision of losing his G, he went to the number 2 person on that compound and said, bro, man, I was locked down. It ain't no, why am I losing my G? And he said, man, that's what Steven decided. That's the call from the board, man. All of y'all got to go. Y'all lived in that pod, all y'all got to go. And he said, man, I can prove that I wasn't out. And he said, how? Man, guess what? The Bloods, the same people that was involved in the fight. Now, all of them in the back, right? So they sending messages back and forth. And they letting them know who was out and who wasn't. They ain't got no dog in the fight. They don't care nothing about none of that. And they told him, man, he wasn't even out there. Couldn't even get out of his cell. Now, you can't use no outside as proof of nothing. But bro, he sent that on down the road. He sent it on down the road and let bro and them know. So Steve and them listening to it, and they checked into it, and it turned out that it was true. Guess what he said? They all still have to go. Even though they were not outside the cells, couldn't get outside the cells until the police unlocked the doors, they lost their G's too. He just made some more enemies. And it was decisions like that that was spreading around the state. No mercy, no understanding in the situation. It was like group punishment as opposed to individual responsibility being carried out. And a lot of brothers were getting turned off by that. They were sick and tired of it. And now the rumblings are starting to come. The rumblings are starting to come. And I'm going to tell you something. When they get the rumbling in GD, it's loud. It's loud. Because he's made enough enemies that don't care nothing about something being a dead issue. They're stirring the pot. Tell you now, they're stirring the pot. Now, if you want to know what stirring the pot is, go back and listen to my episode, Stirring the Pot. When they start stirring the pot in the penitentiary, it gets wild. I'm going to tell you about that in this next episode, okay, y'all? So look here, before I go, check out the new book me and Boo got coming out called Rivals. It's doing its thing. Go to jtb3.org and check that thing out. It's $20, y'all. This has been another episode of Doing Time with Joe. I'm your host, Joe Baker, and I say peace, y'all.